Are you a book lover or enthusiast? Do you need genuine and unique lifestyle products? Or are you looking for a place where you can find contemporary and a wide range of unique gifts for children and adults? Laterna is your go-to place for genuine and contemporary books and lifestyle products for wholesale and retail customers. We stock business books on management, leadership, financial success, entrepreneurship, personal development, and so much more. We carry children's fiction, non-fiction, educational books, CDs, and DVDs. We also stock Christian books on various themes such as church life and growth, spirit-filled living, love, sex, and marriage, to mention but a few. Laterna carries life and style books such as baby and child care, beauty and style, conception and pregnancy, crafts, and hobbies. We also carry adult, children, and teenagers' Bibles, educational toys, framed art, gifts, greeting cards, home and office fragrances, stationery, teachings, and lots more. Our stores are located at plot 1611 Adiola Hopewell Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Online at www.laternabooks.ng. Laterna, your lifestyle hub for book lovers. For inquiries, call 0803 301 4462, 0809 525 3223, 0809 525 3484, or 0809 525 3485. Chat with us via WhatsApp on 0810 023 4441. You may also reach us on social media via Twitter at Laterna Books, Instagram at Laterna Books, and Facebook at Laterna Ventures.
"15 minutes is just to have an introduction of the book. So I will engage the author, and then we'll open the floor. And that's usually the most interesting part, where all of you can engage, ask questions, and just dive into the subject. So I'll just speak with our guest Gbesoye for a few minutes, and then we'll open the floor. Doing and being. What's it about? What inspired it? Why did you write Doing and Being? What's the core of the message? The writer says a guide to living intentionally each day. What's the story behind the book?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll say that, just as it's written behind the book, I hope everyone can hear me. Yes. I got a divine inspiration to put this book together. And the core message in the book is about self-awareness and the importance of that on our journey of growth. Because not knowing yourself puts you at risk, not being able to fulfill your purpose, right? Was something I thought I was going to do at the time, because this book was first launched in June this year. Was something I thought I was going to do earlier in this year. Maybe not. I've always known that every individual should at least put something down in their lifetime. But this came expressly, and I had to obey. You were telling me about the book you had written some years ago. Now, and let's go on it.
Okay.
Here and now.
Even here, even now. I'll come to it.
Yes.
But I want the focus to be on you for a few minutes.
Okay.
I don't want to steal the story.
That's okay. But why I mentioned it is because there's an line. I could hear when you were telling me about it. I could hear the passion with which you put that book together, and the story kind of reminded me of why I did this. I had to do it because there was that nudge that I needed to do it, and for now. So after I put the book together, and then I started to talk about it at every opportunity, I started to get feedback like, "Oh, this is so relevant for now." But it gets to a point where we start to be more purposeful in the things that we do. So it carries more meaning. So for me, it was that inspiration, that nudge to put this message out here or out there in the world at this time, to focus, to turn people's attention to the fact that You're uniquely made, and there's a reason for your creation. Don't take from yourself by trying to be like other people. Yes, we see people around us. It's okay to be inspired, to have role models, to have mentors like I put in the book. But the truth is, you must find you so that you then don't become someone else. Yes.
I want to come back to what's in the book because that's probably the most important thing. But this story about what inspired the book, what you just said now, and why she wanted me to tell my story, which I'll just say a little bit right now. She was asking me, have I written a book myself? Because I do a lot of ghostwriting work. And over the years, I've done quite a lot. But have I written a book myself? And I said some years back, I did write a book myself that is out of print now. And the book titled Even Here, Even Now. So why she wanted me to tell that story and why it synchronizes with her own story is that I felt very inspired to write it. You might use the word, I felt divinely compelled to write it, which is her own story. And the reason why I think the story fascinated you was because I spoke about how where I am now has a direct link to that book. Because the book was about 12 Nigerian entrepreneurs and their stories. And one of the entrepreneurs in the book is John Momo, the founder of Channels TV. And I happened to do a weekly show on Channels TV. And I met him because of that book. I don't know if you get the story. Because the question I was asking you earlier was, how do you feel having written this book? Do you feel like, yeah, I'm happy I wrote the book, or you're not so sure? And you said you were really happy with the book. Yes,
because for me, it was purely an act of obedience. It wasn't something, like I said, I was like premeditated for years. People will say they always plan to write one book. I know someone that says they're writing the same book for 5 years. I'm like, okay. And that's what happens with geniuses. For me, God just told me, you need to put this together. It's the message for now. And like I said, initially, I didn't even know how to go about it. But I sat with myself. I was telling you about the importance of just introspecting, just being with yourself. But when you're engaged in so much, as we always just, get so engrossed with our daily activities and doing, we sometimes miss out on the opportunity to just hear the still small voice on the inside of us that helps us to then, discover us, So for me, it was purely an act of and that kind of struck me what you said as well. So this started as just that simple act of obedience, but other instructions have followed. Other things like the book has been launched in 3 countries, which was not even part of the plan. But like I say all the time, I'm a person of faith. Obeying one instruction makes God trust you to give you the next.
Yeah.
So the book is on Amazon at the moment. Those were just, those were things that came after obeying the instructions to put the book together. And the feedbacks also have been quite humbling. It's also the fact that, it has appealed to a diverse
leadership.
Yes. Yes.
I think the message here, I would like you to confirm that. Before we go on, is, a lot of us, God drops ideas in our minds, but we just don't do anything about it. There are people who are here. You have been hearing it for God knows how long. Write a book. Oh, there's this book I've been thinking of writing. I've been thinking of writing this book. The thing is that connected to that book are many blessings you are praying for right now. Connected to that book you've not written are many blessings you are praying for. Is that true?
Yeah.
Huh? Is that what you meant by instruction?
Absolutely. Then the next one comes because then God can trust you enough to give you instructions, knowing that you would obey them. Yeah. So it's not just about the book. It's not just about writing the book. There's so many little nudges that we get and then kind of tell them. Because we're thinking, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not that smart. I don't have everything all set. There's something I put in the book as well, which is the fact that I don't know anyone here, but I don't have life all figured out. I don't know if anybody does. So we get certain stuff. Even I was saying that even after writing the book, the integrity of my heart has also been tested. There have been things that have challenged my being and that have called my attention to actually knowing if I'm actually intentional. There are days that I'm about to drop the ball, and I remember that you've put something in the book for others to read. Don't just be a signboard. So for me, I kind of believe that when it's beyond a book, when it's an assignment, when it's a movement, it's from within you. It's not just something you do and then you're like, okay, just for them. You are part of them. So you learn from it every day, like I say. It's an opportunity to be the new version of yourself. So we just need to be attentive so that we're intentional in approaching.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other one working.
Also was working with me.
Okay. All right. So let's. So what's in doing and being? What's the message of doing and being? Maybe after you answer, I will share a thought or two of mine. From the book. But can you please introduce the book to those of us who might not be very familiar with it?
Okay. Well, I think this summarizes it the most. Or do I just read the introduction?
Yeah.
Okay. I can read the introduction. Do you want me to have the microphone? And before I go ahead to introduce okay. Before I go ahead to introduce the book, I must say that today for me is should I say is like full circle. I was telling someone that Laterna was my happy place where I'll just walk into the place, buy a new Bible, not because I don't have a Bible, I just liked to buy books from Francis Weavers, and then I didn't even know them Pastor Morgan. I think my husband has always known them. I've known them for longer. But I just love to come into here because it gave me that opportunity to just, find, inspirational pieces from, those kind of books to the different versions of Bible that I have. I think our wedding Bible, I actually brought it from Laterna. So I'm happy that, we're doing this today, and it's such a honor. Thank you, sir, and Ma, Pastor today Morgan. Pastor Remy Morgan, sorry. Thank you, sir. So I'm just going to read the introduction, just the beginning of it. It says, there's a question that tugs at all of us sooner or later, not in words, but in quiet moments, in the spaces between breaths and from deep within our soul. Why am I really here? Maybe you have felt that restless ache beneath the surface of your daily routine. You wake up, do what needs to be done, meet expectations, and collapse into bed only to do it all over again. So I think those first few lines actually explain the doing part. Because everyone feels the need to go to work. For any reason, if you lose your job, you're feeling like, oh, my life has come to an end. If you don't have a place to go today, you're feeling like, oh, why am I so bored? Why am I idle? So we are constantly in motion. But when we start to live beyond just the motion, just, meeting our targets, and we start to do the things we do very meaningfully, that's when we start to see. It's beyond the surface. It's beyond, just doing things for human validation or for human approval. It's being convinced, set out to do. And then you see it as though, it's a matter of life. I don't want to say life and death. Because, when you do that, you're not just doing it for yourself as well. You're then seeing meaning in impacting the lives of the people around you. And, like I also say quite often, I'm like, we're going to be remembered for the impact that we make while we're there. So and sometimes it sounds like, who say things like that? Who cares? Every man for himself and God for us, all kind of narrative. But I've come to realize that we live in a very small world. And the impact you make today, you might not even know how it's going to wait for you down the line. Yes, when you're doing that, it's not so that it comes back to you, but the intentionality behind every act is what makes you you. So then, and we never completely arrive. That's what I also say. So when we say this thing doesn't want me to drop it, when I want to drop it, it starts to work. When we say we're being, that means it's ongoing. I said this journey of purpose is continuous. It's not something that you say today, now I've arrived. Nobody ever arrives. That's why we have to pay attention. We have to be attentive so that we learn from every engagement, from every encounter. We get every opportunity to learn as something to help us grow. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So you wrote in page 14, Roman numerals. This book was inspired by the simple truth: your life matters a lot more than you can imagine. And reading your book, I see there's a lot of emphasis on helping the reader to discover himself or herself, to understand who he or she really is, to discover God's purpose for one's life, and to align one's life with that purpose so that whatever one is doing then becomes meaningful. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, I'd say that's a good summary, because the truth is, like I said earlier, if we don't realize who we are, we're just going to be living someone else's life. And at the end of the day, we would have shortchanged ourselves. The uniqueness of every individual then gets eroded when you do not fully live from your core. And I must add the fact that there are certain occurrences, experiences in life that actually get us to that point of wanting to really discover who we are and why we've been created. Like that's the next book. Actually, I've read it. If you start with why, it then helps you to stay, true to the process. When your resolve is being tested, when you engage or encounter obstacles or challenges, you remember why you started, you remember who you are, you put, that behind the process, and then it helps you to keep going. My first major awakening was when I was in the college. And it's actually inside the book, It was a really bad one, but nothing happened to me other than the fact that I broke my arm in I had a multiple fracture. I could still think, even right after, at the scene of the accident, my mind was intact. I was alive. Like if I woke up, as I opened my eyes and I saw that I was on this plane. And for me, that was in 2019. That was a wake-up call. That it was probably something God had spared my life for. And someone had asked me also that, will that sort of drastic awakening happen to everybody? I said, maybe not. Maybe not, and that also speaks to the uniqueness of everyone. The way God wants to just maybe catch our attention might be different. And as at that time, I think I already had, 2019 was just how many years ago? I was already married. I already kind of had all these big things you were trying to read. But that singular experience made me, and I was on admission. So it was also a very quiet time that helped me to reconnect with myself. And, I started to think, okay, what if I had died in that accident? What would I have been remembered for? So that awakening kind of helped me to start to be more intentional in relating with people, in doing the things that I do. And so, like, 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, I got the nod to put this book together, drawing from that experience and focusing on the things that are more important. Because sometimes the things that we don't see are actually more important than the things that we see. And they actually are the ones that govern or that power the things that we see. So we need to pay a little more attention to those things so that we're not just distracted by the movements, the activities around us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's very powerful. Somebody saw my pictures 8 years ago or so. And they said, "Is that you?" I said, "Yeah, that's me," because I didn't have a beard. Then 2018, I also had a life near-death experience. I was very, very ill. and I was in the hospital, so there was no time to shave. So that was how this beard grew. I then decided I will not cut my beard again. So every time I look into the mirror, I'll be reminded that life is precious. So every time I look at the mirror, that's what I see. Many people have been trying to persuade me to cut my beard. I know that's your business. Go away. So that's powerful. You had an experience, an accident that gave you that awakening. And you just said something important now, that maybe not everybody will have such experiences, but something needs to wake us up to understand how short life can be and how we need to make sure that we spend it properly and we don't fall into that trap of wanting to live other people's lives, right? Okay, that's powerful. That's one of the reasons why I find your book very powerful. Yeah, I will ask one more question. While I'm doing that, then the floor will be open. If you have any questions or comments, you can please shoot. Yeah. Now, this guides to living intentionally each day. I'm going to say your book is heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. It's about life and purpose and living intentionally and all that. But in reality, we just want to live our lives. Just wake up, do your thing, enjoy, not think deeply about some of the very serious, deep stuff, and all that. Guide to living intentionally today. How do we do that without being too serious? Or do we need to be too serious? Maybe that's what we need to be. We need to be too serious. Yeah.
Because I think you're probably asking the wrong person, because I've been accused severally of being too serious in life. So this is me trying to know not to be as uptight. So maybe I'll just give what I think as of now about how we should start living intention. Even in the fun things that we do, there's a message. There's a reason why everything happens. I don't believe that life just happens by chance. Everything that happens to us. So if we can just take a minute or a moment each day to reflect on how the day has gone, just do that. Don't be a people or because something here says one of her mantras is that whatever is watching that is what you do. And I'm like, oh God. Because that's how I see life. If it's just one thing I am doing and I know to do, I do it with the whole of my heart. And that has made people perceive me as being too, but the truth is, I feel like excellence is something you should, whatever that then, turns out to mean. But I feel like, just as a daily, before we came out here, Pastor Remy was telling me about, people that are actually very serious. Like, they measure by the hour. Do you know what I mean? It's not people that actually mean to take something out of life. So not just even by the day. And we're talking about the verse of the Bible that says, teach us to number our days. Yes. But that if you really mean business, you will check that, okay, from 10 to 12, what did I do? How productive was I? Did I rest? Because rest is also part of the things we should actually help ourselves to do. But in Lagos, it looks like that's luxury, But there's so many ways we can do it. But let me just start with that little. And chapter 1 talks about how we can find ourselves. The whole of chapter 1 is like a book on its own. It talks about self-awareness, how you can evaluate your progress. And maybe that would also give me the opportunity to introduce the workbook. So today is the first day the workbook has come out, because it was part of the feedback we got, or the feedback I got, that to help people measure their progress, actually, there has to be something they can write into, and then they can say, questions that can nudge them, and then they can start to track from there. Because I believe that, yes, you can be encouraged, you can have mentors, you can have role models, but, at the end of the day, everything still comes back to you. You have to want it for yourself. That's what one of my managers once told me. That, man, you always want everybody to. I said, yes, but I feel like they have to want it for themselves. And for me, I feel like, okay, now that people have said, oh, a workbook would help them to then track their progress, that's like journaling. So you can sit every day, it's not like you're showing anybody. It's like your disciplined way of being accountable. But if you can't be accountable to yourself, you can't be accountable to anybody. Nobody's going to beat adults anymore. But once you feel like, oh, okay, I need to do this, and you set those goals, you set the target for yourself, then you sit every night before you go to bed and like, okay, let me see, how did my first few hours, what can I do differently tomorrow? Even when you've done something wrong, you can tell yourself, oh, I should have done this differently. The other day I was saying how my daughter and I were talking, and she was like, Mommy, were you trying to think of what you could have done differently? I said, yes. So in summary, I'll say, you know what, to thyself be true. Whether it's being fun, you want to do it being fun, it's okay. You want to be too serious like a girl like me, it's okay. Just do it. Evaluate your own progress. It's your journey. People can get inspired by your journey, but it's your journey. So make it count. And that's what I'll say. So that's why, this has been put together, and then we have a workbook to support people on their journey of growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Floor is open. If you've been eager to ask a question, drop a comment, please indicate, raise up your hand, and then we can take your question. Anybody with a question? Okay, I'm sure they are tracking some questions online too. Okay, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Such an amazing book and amazing story. I want to ask this question. You might not understand how very important this topic is in the present generation because of where I work. I work with massive youth, and I understand pretty much that they understand how to do. They don't really understand how to be. But as a matter of fact, I'll give an example. Before we all think that the reason for which enterprises are not being created is because there are no, access to finance. But in the last 3 years, that seems to have been proven wrong. And the reason is this: many of the youth, they want to do because people have told them to do. They don't really know who they are and what the future can hold for them if they really believe in themselves. So there are some sort of young people who have become very curious that I have the fund they want in my hand. And at the point where we really want them to show the characteristic of entrepreneur, it became difficult even to convince us how to apply the fund. So, and I start asking questions. Okay, do you really want to be an entrepreneur? Or because you say that the youth are just everybody say, hey, I want to do my things. The reason you thought you wanted to do it. And now when you are to pay, it's difficult. And I remember talking to them about your goal, that it may be important for you to even discover yourself first of all. So what's my question? My question is this: how do you intend? I'm trying to let you know that the generation that needs it is the present generation. It's extremely, they are much more confused. I mean, entitlement generation, at times, they portray who they are not. And sorry that it's longer. Just yesterday, one of them walked up to me who has been founded 2 years ago, now in year 4. We didn't just stay in for about 6 months. He has gambled with the entire money. So, and he came back yesterday, the head of the department referred it back to me that within where you were funded. And he told me this, that there's something inside of me that usually tell me to be gambling with this money. So that then he was making 10,000 naira every day. And the woman that was helping him to prepare what he was doing was paying that woman 2,000. So he came to realization when he saw the woman, he was paying 2,000 every day. He got back to a shop. That woman has become a very big woman, thanking him for that 2,000 naira every day. and he was having minimum of 10,000 naira every day. He gambled with everything, and he had to go on leave of absence for 1 year until he went into depression. So he was sent back to me yesterday. And I looked at him and I said, the question is this. There is no, you call it addiction. I redefined addiction for him yesterday. He said addiction is decision. You can say you want to do it or not. So why I'm giving you this is to let you know the generation you need to focus on. So my question, how do you intend, please, to use this, either the foundation that is attached to you on this book or a forum like this where you will have the youth gather together for them to discover themselves, so that they will know that doing is different from being paid. And when you understand your, being paid, it may now give you an opportunity, to know how to do
properly. Yeah.
So sorry that I had to.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for putting things in context. Because, like I said to you, after the book was, first launched, some people came back to me and said, "Oh, this book is very relevant for now." That because everybody wants to have a certain look out there. And I'm like, that means I was just obeying when I wrote the book. But you have also further confirmed it. After this book came out, I also got another. So it's like I said, the next instruction would come. So I got another leading to start a community of young adults. And that community is called the Phoenix Community, where we learn and grow together. We learn and grow together. And that kind of explains the illustration behind the book, because whoever knows the phoenix would know that the phoenix would rise from ashes, and then and all of that. So we started the community. For me it was a big struggle, because I'm like, for you to mentor people, to have a community of young adults, that means you are living you're a worthy example, which has also been something that has been helping me to be a better version of myself. I won't lie to you. So we have that community where we kind of, should I say, onboard young adults between the ages of 18 and 35. Because I feel like that age is very critical. It's very crucial to the rest of our life. And the earlier we kind of find that mentorship, we find that, or we discover that thing that helps us to be comfortable in our skin and not just want to be like that. And it's good to aspire to more, for more. But the truth is, you should still appreciate whatever you have before you want to activate. So for me, I'll say that community is my first, my first step in the right direction. And like I was saying to, who was I saying it to? I was saying it to someone yesterday about the workbook. I said, I'm happy to actually donate a few copies of the book so that people would then, these young minds will sit with it. Funny enough, the workbook is almost like a complete work on its own, because it has questions, it has nudges, but you have to just be true to yourself. Nobody can do this for you. I wish, like, if I had a magic wand, I'll actually make every young adult, see beyond those character traits that describe their generation. Because I feel like, it's going to be a lot of emptiness at the end of the day if they don't really realize that there's more to life beyond wanting to look a certain way for the optics. So for me, the community is my number one, and it's called the Phoenix Community. I think, there's something about it that will be put on the screen. And then I'm more than happy to put out, donate the book, the journals, but people must use them. Because we won't be able to do it for them, unfortunately, until maybe some of them get to that, to those roadblocks where they gambled with their grants. And then they come back. This boy now that has come back, he's telling you his story of depression and everything. He will not do that again. And that's what I also say. Sometimes we should not shield people from the repercussions of their actions, because experience, like they say, will be the greatest teacher. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gamble the way is brand. Well. If this is a question from online, if readers take away only one lesson from your book, what would you want that lesson to be?
It will be that every individual is unique. Just find your uniqueness. even for businesses, they'll say, what's your competitive advantage? What's your niche? We all have it within. We don't find it because we don't care to, most times. Because that thing that you're trying to get away from could be just what someone else is aspiring to. That thing for me, because it's a message of self-awareness. You see, everything else would come on top of it, whether to know your mentors, whether to know the communities you should belong to. You must know who you are first. Then you would know who to collaborate with. You will be able to make decisions that will then, guide you on the journey. That's what I'll say. So if there's one thing you're going to take, just read chapter 1. Someone has said to me that, each chapter of this book could actually be a standalone book. I said, okay, if you say that. But, find yourself. And then everything else will be fine. But is it okay to also say that it's hard to find yourself without the creator? It's almost impossible. It will just be that, what's your second book? You have a precious thing in you. So sometimes you won't find that thing except, you connect with the person that made you. That's why manuals go in devices and cars. So when you connect with the person who made you, it then becomes slightly easier to find you. But you must also nurture that relationship. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, there's another hand there. Yes, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well done, sis. My question is a very selfish one, and I'll tell you why. And it's on the backdrop of what he has said. I work with children. And from all what we've said, we've seen that it's very important from a very early age to start them on this purpose journey. So I'm asking, is there any chance that you have anything coming up for young? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ewa's mom, like I call her. Please, that's my sister. Please, good to see you. One thing that knowing yourself also helps you to do is to know the audience you're sent to. Personally, I'm still working on patience. My husband told me this morning. So, and to actually work with children, you need a lot of patience. And like I said, I've also identified, like even in our community, where is the meet up where? I say, when we put something out in the community, people that don't come out, that means they don't want to be here. We're going to remove them. And she's like, man, let's still leave them. I'm like, I don't know to feed people. You must show. So there's something that the Yoruba part I put in the book, and it's that Omotoba Shipa Nongwe, which means you have to be willing to be helped. You see, it's harder for someone to actually support you if every attempt, every effort just falls flat. But for children, the beautiful thing is that for those of you that God has sent to them, He has given you the grace for them. She used to be the head teacher of the House on the Rock School in Abuja, and she just moved back to Lagos. So I know why she's asking the question. But like I said, one thing that I also know that has also been, that out there has dropped in my spirit lately is collaboration. Because we can't do life alone. It's also one of the things in the book that nobody succeeds alone. So I know I've identified my own calling for today. It could change tomorrow when God has refined me well enough. But for people like you who work with children, there are always so many other areas I can partner with you to say, okay, you need to do this. Let's support them this way. Let's get these books into maybe other books, not this one, will be too advanced for children, into the hands of children, or even schools. Like I'm always happy, to go to schools and try to speak in elementary language. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe you should do something for parents who are parents can help their children discover purpose early. So maybe, well, this is for, yeah, I know. Yes. Okay. Man, know thyself. Yeah. That's what you wrote in chapter 1, basically. Do you think that most people in your world, in the world you observe, do you think that most people have not discovered themselves? are living somebody else's life. When you are in Lagos traffic and you are sitting in your car and you look out of the window and you see other people, you feel the world around you. You feel like most people, when you're in your workplace, you do your business, engaging people, dealing with your staff and all that. You feel most people, are disconnected from who they really are. Is that part of what inspired you to write this?
Maybe not, because I'm still even finding myself. So when layered, every human being, we're quite layered, that's true. So I try to channel a lot more of my energy into finding myself for every level and every season, actually. So in terms of other people, I must maybe have interacted with you, heard you speak, because the Holy Book says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So from the things you say, I'll probably be able to think, oh, okay, but not just from looking at traffic. I don't sometimes even look out of the car, But I just feel like when you engage with people, you then would know who they are. Character comes out in every engagement, although we sometimes think we've masked it very nicely, but maybe not as much. But I really don't look to other people's, until it becomes my business. Maybe we're having to do something together, or, we're trying to support each other to achieve a goal. Then we can then be like, accountability partners, and then maybe iron can sharpen iron. But generally, it has to be you who knows whether you're fulfilling your purpose, whether you've discovered yourself or not. So if I look at someone, I feel like, oh, you're not doing the right thing. Who makes me the judge over them? Do you know what I mean? How do I know the life they're supposed to be living? So I wouldn't say I kind of will be able to tell from just looking at people.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question? Floor is open.
Questions online. Okay.
Are there questions online? Oh, okay. Please let's take forgive me, I can do with a timekeeper. I think I might have lost track of time. Okay. Except from the, let me try and read that. Except from the book, chapter 9, page 134. When you encounter wow, with this one, sir. With my glasses. Okay. When you encounter a roadblock, the first thing you should do is to turn to the person who assigned you the assignment. But that's not the question. Where's the question? I thought that was...
Okay, good afternoon, Ma.
Okay, good afternoon, Ma. Thanks so much for the book and review. Please, does your innate passion have anything to do with this book, Doing and Being? I'm not sure I understand the question, but do you? Does your innate passion...
If the person knows me.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. It's not very clear.
Okay.
Or do you understand the question?
Not quite, but I can speak to it. Just asking if my person aligns with the book, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would say yes, because even before that 2019, where I kind of felt like I got there with me, people used to say prior to then, oh, you're so intentional, you're so put together. I'm like, So I guess if you're the person who defines yourself based on excellence and you feel like, oh, whatever is worth doing is worth doing well, you'll probably be perceived as being intentional because the way you do the things that you do. But I guess as we progress in life, there are different things that will then make us assess our level of intentionality so that we can then be more. We can, then start to do more after being more from within. So I think yes will be the answer to that. My person kind of ties into the book. And I must say that the book has also been something that has also helped me myself. I've read the book again. I've reviewed it with my community. I've gotten their opinion and all of that. So it's a constant, and the journey is ongoing. That's what chapter 10 says, that this is just the beginning.
beginning. So we never really end until life ends. Yes. And is that my last question?
One more. One more. Just to sum up, just to round up, can you just share with us how to use this? The workbook, yeah, how do you structure it to be used?
I could say that, like I said earlier, that the workbook can actually be used on its own, but I think it would be a better complement for the book. Because like Module 1 says, I'll go to Module 1, it says reconnect with yourself. So the book just tells you so many things to do, but this, the workbook gives you nudges. You know the way sometimes you're just clueless, even after you feel like you've started, to live intention, and you get places that like, so it's like a help, it's like a help, to like, it helps to prompt you. It's like when someone is asking you a question, you then say, oh, okay, it gives you those light bulb moments. So module 1 ties into chapter 1. The workbook has 12 chapters as opposed to the book that has 10 chapters, but then again, they're all still centered around finding yourself, identifying the right people to do life with. And you could use it as you wish. The important thing is just to use it. Don't let it be another addition to the collection of books or things you have in your study or your library. Module 3 says rewriting LinkedIn. So it just tells us that a lot lies in our hands. We can choose. So if someone says to you that, oh, you can't amount to so much, you can choose to rewrite that. So the workbook actually tells us, the power of just seeing ourselves differently and holding on to the positive image of ourselves that we see. Yes, and it's important. Nobody is going to see it for you because, at the end of the day, it all still comes back to you. It's a simple, it says embrace inner wholeness. So there is work to be done because a lot of us have come from different, experiences that have left us with hurts, wounds, traumas, different things. Once we recognize that, we must start to do the work. And then in assessing our progress, we can then sit with this sort of a workbook and say, okay, how do I then start to embrace my wholeness? How do I admit that, yes, I've been hurt, and sometimes maybe I react from that place? How do I go back to the drawing board? How do I then not respond or not react next time I'm faced with a situation? So it still all ties back to being intentional. But the workbook, I think, does a lot of the practical work, while this just gives us the knowledge that we require to be able to then tie both together. I think it's a very valuable resource to have, even if you still feel like, okay, the book is, and it's not so big, but I mean, this book, you don't have to sit down and read it at once. You can just say, oh, focus on module 1, work on it, and then reflect, and then we'll take it from there, I guess. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think this is where we put a pause on the list. I think we don't have time again. I think we're out of time. Is there any other person trying to ask a question? Okay. Yes.
So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come out. Like I put in my invitation, I'm like, it's a lot engagement, and I see a lot of people who've left work to come here, some people from the mainland, some people from different. I'm really grateful. I do not take it for granted. I want to also say a big thank you to my husband because he connected me with Pastor Remy, and Pastor Inka, and I felt like that was for me like a dream come true. Like I said, I used to just come to Laterna and walk the aisles, speak books, buy new Bibles for just doing it. The atmosphere was just right for me. So having to do this today, I want to say thank you, and thank you to everyone who has come out to, to just be a part of this book this afternoon. Thank you so much.
I think books are available here. The book itself, Doing and Being, and the workbook. We can pick them up. And thank you too. Me too. I thank you for everybody coming and listening to us. And thank you, Gbesoye, Debo-Olujimi. Thank you for writing this, for gifting the world this. And thank your husband, fine gentleman. Nice to meet you at last. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to Pastor Remy Morgan and Mrs. Yinka Morgan, great mentors and leaders, and we're really very proud to be associated with them. Like you two, many years ago, I used to just walk into Laterna, nothing doing, just walking, just looking at the books and just feel the atmosphere. I'm inspired, and I was really inspired many years ago, and eventually I've had the privilege of developing a relationship with both of them, who are very, very wonderful. Thank you very much to the entire Laterna team.